We're back
Yes.
after con day 1.
It was a long day. It was an awesome day.
It was good. We needed to have bouncy houses for my children.
I know. And at least the bungee thing, they didn't have anything for kids, which was such a letdown. Why wouldn't you have that? There were kids everywhere, but they didn't have anything for them to do.
Maybe it's a liability thing. I don't.
They've done it at all the other ones. How's it a liability thing? I don't think they had room at this one, which is why they just decided not to do it.
They didn't make use of their room.
Yes.
But con's good. Con's fun.
Yes, lots of fun.
We were going to answer more things yesterday, only we were drinking, much like now. And then there was a lot of drinking, and then we went, plans?
To do what?
I don't know.
Plans for what now?
We were going to have everyone we were with yesterday live ask us questions
That never even happened.
that maybe we didn't know ahead of time, which could have been fun and different.
Yeah.
Because at least now we look at them
A
and we're
lot
like,
of
well,
poor
shit, what do
planning
you
went
think
into
about
that. That would have been fun.
Yeah,
But we just didn't follow it there.
whatever. My phone is doing things. I'm trying to pull up the questions we did get.
Inbox.
I'm getting there.
Oh.
Okay, some of these aren't anon. Maybe I answer this. Do I answer this?
Which one? The top one? Oh, that one.
I think I can.
I
So
think so. Yeah, yeah.
I'm really bad about giving spoilers, and everybody knows that.
So bad.
I
Don't
give
ever
different
ask for
ones
anything.
to different people with different depth, and I don't really remember who I say what to a lot of the time. So people will start asking me clarifying things, and I'll answer, and I'll be like, well, yeah, because I figure I told them everything, right? Only I didn't. And then they're like, holy shit, what are you talking about?
I didn't know this, and this.
And
Tell me
I'm like,
more.
Oops, and that's how a couple people know almost everything. Nobody knows everything except for Brie. Nobody.
But a lot of people do know a lot of stuff.
That's true.
And sometimes stuff just slips out of Janice's mouth. Just
It's
flies out.
real hard to be good. I was good. I
Win,
was mostly
win.
good on the last video.
Yeah, you were. Mostly. Stuff still came
In
out.
one very
It
near
wasn't that
slip
bad.
up.
It
Anyhow,
wasn't.
this question is from somebody who knew a little bit, but didn't know a whole lot. And they said, I thought Jules didn't go out into the field because they knew she was going to be on the team. Is it for like special occasions, or does she do it on a semi to regular basis? I also really love that Jules' husband wants to go out with her in the field. So Jules is out in the field regularly at the point of the story that we
That
posted on
happened.
Monday. Her husband would not tolerate not going out in the field.
And you'll
He's a
find out
fun
why. It's not
character.
like in a dominating,
No.
crazy, weird way. No.
It's a little protective.
It's protective, obviously. Yeah,
That's where his
definitely.
name comes from.
But it's not. It's quite organic and integral to their story.
Jules is there out of an obligation to her family and herself for the city. Her husband's there for her.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to see her safe and protected, and sure, he'd like the city to be safe too, but that's
Well, yeah,
not
but
his
that's not his
priority.
priority. No.
Ever.
No.
It's not an Oliver
There's no
crusade.
obligation to that like it is in the Queen family, especially being.
Right.
No, there's nothing like that at all.
Did you almost just
I
say
did.
that?
I did.
Oh my god.
It's the beer. Let's blame the beer. This is really good beer.
Okay, thanks.
It's A+ beer.
It is A+ beer. We just got a text. I'll reply to her in a few minutes. Okay. We gotta get through this first.
I know.
So that was
Yeah.
that question. Yes, she's regularly, very regularly out in the field. Another question was, I'm pretty sure you either answered this before or said it was spoilery, but can you tell us what year do each of the kids get married? I can tell you 3 of the 4. So with Jules, the reason I'm not saying is I feel like either you're going to go, oh, well, that's not that far off, so clearly she marries Jackson. Or, well, damn, that's pretty far out there. She probably doesn't marry Jackson. And I don't really want to tell you that, even though they could easily break up and get back together. I mean,
Well, yeah, obviously.
people do that.
Easily.
But I also feel like people are going to jump to conclusions. So I don't really want to say with Jules, except I will say that she is married before she gets pregnant. There was another way I was going to qualify that too, and I don't remember it now. She's also the first one who gets married. So you know she's married before 2044, anyhow, since they have 10-month-old in 2045. And she's the first one married. For the others, hopefully this keeps oh, you know what?
No, I think, oh.
It's going to keep showing that though, right? I need to
The
click on
light?
another tab.
Let's see what happens.
And I'm super worried it's going to like somehow
We blacked out for
magically
a
show
second,
what's
and
on
that's
that
why.
tab, but it's
I
not going
think
to do
it's-
that.
No,
It can't do that.
there's no way it would do.
All right. Well, you're not looking. You're looking at me. We're not looking at you. I have no idea what's going on right now.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
So Ellie gets married in 2045 in October, September. That might be September. September, October-ish. Fall. Let's say fall. Will gets married in 2046 in the spring. And Nate and Penny probably get married in 2053-ish.
Yeah, ish.
Their multi-chapter is really starting in 2051. So.
Yes, I would definitely say it's sooner rather than later for them.
And probably somewhere in between Will and Nate is Bethany, who does get married young. I need to finish this beer if I'm going to be driving anytime in the near future.
If you want me to drink it, I will drink it.
I don't want you to
I
drink
know
it.
you
It's
don't want me to
delicious
drink it, but you want me
beer.
driving. It's such good beer, which is why I take this bullet for you. Because I'm almost done with mine. Except
So
I
this
have more,
next, oh, hold on.
which I think I will. I have a lot of beer.
I picked up a growler from McMenamins, and it's amazing.
So good.
It's called a Rubinator, which is their Terminator Stout mixed with a red ruby,
It's amazing.
and it's really good. Very coffee kind of taste to it, which clearly
Probably
appeals to
explains
us.
a lot.
So this Anon asked, are we ever going to see the actual kidnapping or just the little bits that we've already seen? Also, are we going to see more from what we saw with Ellie's frustrations in part 2, where she's angry with all the attention being on Jules when she's dealing with her own difficulties? So there is a chapter coming up. You won't see the kidnapping happen.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a lot of suspense or drama there since you know it does happen. So
And what happens during
right.
it.
But you will see the events from either Oliver or Felicity's perspective. I haven't decided which yet, because we're going to be showing the other Ellie, the original. Is she sort of original?
She's
Ellie
the
1?
original. Yeah.
Ellie the first?
I mean, according to the
Yeah.
FICoN verse itself, yeah.
So you'll get to see all of my worst fears as a parent, basically. That's going to be
It'll
a
be
joy
healthy.
to write.
It'll be wonderful.
That's going to be hard. Like, to be clear, that's kind of a bitch as a parent to even think about.
Which makes it all the more real and amazing from the outside, from somebody who's not a parent. Like,
There's
oh,
going to be a lot
wow.
of drinking while I write that one.
Which is fine, which is normal. I mean, more drinks.
Ish.
obviously.
And the other part of that, will we see more of Ellie's frustrations? Yeah. Some of that is less to do with Jules and more to do with her situation.
Yes.
And, I mean, she doesn't want to be 16, 17, whatever she is. She wants to be 10 years older. She wants to be...
She wants to have more ability to do what she wants to do in that strict moment.
Mm-hmm.
But she can't.
No,
As
because she's a
teenager,
kid.
She doesn't really know. She does know, but she doesn't have the ability or the wherewithal at this moment.
Right. She
that
feels like a
thinks
grown-up
she
and
does,
she's not.
Which
So
is
there's a-
pretty typical of teenage behavior.
Yes. Yeah. So she's really frustrated. And sometimes that comes out at Jules, and sometimes that's even earned. I think we'll see that straight through the first sequel. Oh boy.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe. Don't quote me on that one. I think so.
I think.
Next question is a two-part question. Will and Amelia dance at the gala, then run into each other at the brunch 1 year later? How long until they see each other again after that? And then how long after that until they have other run-ins or are eventually together? I'm going to check the timeline again. There are some before the gala also that you haven't seen yet. There's one I'm working on now.
I really like that.
So gala was 2035. Brunch is 2036. This is a really hard one to answer. So I think there's probably... How do I answer that?
I don't know how to answer that.
If you're talking about scenes where you physically see them together again, it's going to be the next February, so 2037. There are other interactions and their relationship or lack thereof, however each of them defines it, is featured elsewhere. Keep in mind, too, that the first sequel takes place in that time frame, which is going to be another complicating factor.
That's going to be fun.
There's also another big one-shot in April of 2037 with Will and Amelia.
Oh.
I know, that was the first one I mentioned.
Yeah.
There is a two-part one-shot in December of 2038 with Will and Amelia. They're really in the first half of that two-part, and the second half is one that I've referenced before where Moira kind of gets called to the mat. And we will see them again in January of 2040, so there's a bit of a gap there. I would not be surprised at all if we see her show up in the third sequel. I don't think we'll see her in the second. Third sequel is also in 2040, later in that year. And then we will see them again in fall of 2042. And then they'll finally get together in, March of 2045. So there's quite a few in there, which hopefully is what you're looking for. I don't know.
And I'm sure so many more will pop up.
I hope it's recording when I'm clicking another tab.
I think it is. Well, the light's not turning off.
Well, that's good. There are other flash fics that might happen, and there certainly are some things that happen before the gala, like I said, too.
And as stuff crops up, and as we keep talking about their story, but also other stories and how other characters are impacted, stuff is going to come up.
Because Amelia is interacting...
So this isn't concrete.
Yeah, and Amelia is interacting with the family in other ways, too, through Moira, through Oliver. Whenever big things happen with the queens, it sometimes makes sense to pull her in, either politically or through her family connections, through Thad sometimes.
Yeah. She's always there.
She doesn't live in the same city, so that gives them some of the distance that I need to maintain, because I'm an idiot, but whatever. So there's something of a gap before they get together after that last run-in. That's intentional. There's other things going on for Amelia at that point. And then the other part of this question was, I loved hearing Nate's 10-year-old description of Amelia to Felicity in the flashback. Nate is in his 20s when Will and Amelia finally get together. How does he feel about it, and does he talk to Will about it?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I mean, he'd be what, 20, he's 23. 23-ish. Nate loved Amelia when he was 10. She was ambitious and brilliant and beautiful and exactly...
She was the perfect woman.
She's ideal.
In his eyes.
Yeah, and she likes his grandmother, who he's close to.
Yeah.
The Amelia that we see once she's with Will
Very different.
is different. She has learned to temper some of that, and that she's put too much stock in things that don't matter as much as she thought they did. And Nate hasn't figured that out. So I'm not sure he knows quite what to make of her at first, because she had succeeded on a level that he envies, and then kind of decided it didn't matter. And he's still going, but that's
the whole point.
the whole
Like,
point of
why
your
are
life.
you- yeah.
Right. But I do think he still likes her. I think he's got a lot of residual affection for
Oh,
her.
of course. I mean, at the core, she's still the same
Right.
person. It's just they can't relate. He can't relate to her nearly as much as he could before.
Right. And they do go on very divergent paths as far as their careers and their personal lives, and how they, sorry, the cat distracted me. how they, she's creepy. How they move forward with their families, very different. So does he talk to Will about it? I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I don't know if he would. No, I don't know if he would initiate it himself.
It's gonna happen flip-flop. I'll tell you that Will is absolutely gonna stick his nose in his baby brother's personal business.
But still will.
So well.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna tease him and poke him, and it's gonna be fun.
Nate.
I love this question. I love FICoN Will, but I'm having a hard time liking Canon Will since we don't really know anything about him. So since your version's so brilliant, how would you rate season 6 Canon Will? I love all your work. Thank you.
Yes, your will is amazing.
I love my Will.
Literally
He's
the
my
only
baby.
reason I could handle Canon.
Canon, I feel like he's very much a blank slate. There's nothing to dislike. There's just also nothing to like.
Yeah, he just asked us to fill the blanks for something that
He's
wasn't
no one.
there.
Yeah.
So FICoN
he's a
will fill
cutout
the
character.
blanks. Yeah.
I really hope they develop him. It sounded, especially after today, from what Amel said, I really think he's
Yes.
going to be,
He's going to be a huge part of it.
I very much had that impression. He didn't flat out say that by any means, but
No, but he's really important to Oliver's growth in that direction. So he has to be sticking around, and
Well,
he has to get more.
and a lot of the point of the story of Arrow overall is legacy and fathers and sons,
Yeah.
so it makes sense. I would say, I would hope that Will has distinct personality. He doesn't need a lot of it. You just need a couple of points, salient points, to really make them someone that you can relate to.
And it has little stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that makes him just more concrete without having to project yourself onto the character in order to make him likable.
Something other than I like the Flash. Writing kids is hard.
Especially in I can't imagine.
You have to
How to do
remember that
something
they're
like
people.
Yeah.
Like, they're people first, and they're at the base level of developing who they're gonna be as adults. So they have their own interests, and they're gonna care more about those than any adult is gonna care. So you can't emphasize it too much. And really, it's the connections to the people around them that matter more than who they are. That's why you're gonna care about them. That's the only reason that Will is tolerable on the show, because you're told that Oliver cares about him. And you care about Oliver because
Yeah.
that's been earned. I think they should have done a whole lot more to show that Oliver's affection.
Well, show their
Just
relationship
genuine, yeah.
even just to have a few more minutes. Because we only saw when they first met, which doesn't help anything. That's all I have
Yeah.
to go off of. And I know that he had those months where he was going back to Central City in order to see Will and spend time with him. William. He should be Will on the show, too. But that didn't give me anything concrete. Anything to latch
Yeah.
onto, anything to
I agree.
build any emotion or affection or anything for this kid.
A couple seconds here and there
Doesn't
of
make...
something. No, but add a couple seconds here
couple,
and
yeah.
there of.
Even the tiniest things, just seeing ruffling on the hair, or just seeing him a few minutes from afar,
Even
anything.
from Oliver's
anything.
perspective, with the few people who were in the know. He, in the scene where Thea was Guggenheim's mouthpiece about how it was a good idea to keep it from Felicity, which was the dumbest.
That was so bad.
I'm sorry, that was
That
probably
was
the
like
scene.
incredible retcon.
That was
Yeah,
probably the
it was
scene
so
I
bad.
least liked of the series,
It was awful.
because it, other than Felicity saying she had no opinion on gun violence, Go
That
on.
was the no, that was good. Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's one of those scenes that pulls you out of the narrative to the point where you are not engrossed or engaged, and you look around yourself like waiting for someone else to go, did you see that? What was that? And
Well,
in
it
my
doesn't
case, that happened.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it doesn't feel like the writers are trusting you as a viewer to like, oh, we're gonna build this up so it makes sense, but they didn't give it to you.
Right.
So we're gonna tell you this is what's really going on instead of showing you, which is what they should have done in the first place, but they
Yeah.
didn't.
It's
What's
it's
done is
almost
done.
like a previously on to start of an episode.
Yes.
Only it
In the
wasn't
middle of the
previously there.
episode.
But, you know, if you'd had, instead when he was talking with Thea there, said something like, you love him, I can't even explain
I
how
would've loved
great it
that.
is.
I would have liked the wavering a little bit and having Oliver have to explain why he's doing what he's doing and why it's so important to him that this stays the way it is, why he made the decision, as opposed to Thea encouraging him without explaining, without hearing any perspective from Oliver about it.
Mentioning a memorable moment. I taught him to play catch, and it was the
That
most
would've been
amazing
so
moment.
amazing.
Or, you know,
It
I
made
look
him
at
so
him
human.
and I see mom.
Oh my god, I would have cried.
You,
That
you
would be
don't,
beautiful.
one line here and there is all you need. And they didn't do that. So I will never expect the show to be like Pieces of Always or even FICoN.
Oh,
It's
no.
never going to have
It's
that
never
kind
gonna
of a
touch
focus.
on fan fiction in general.
And it shouldn't have that kind of focus.
No.
It's an action-based show.
But they should
Um,
also remember that even the tiniest little thing,
Yes.
the tiniest thing,
Yes.
one line, 1 second,
Mm-hmm.
it could build. It can take care of so much without actually having to be a huge drawn out thing.
Yeah. And the moment you
Instead of-
sacrifice that, you've given up on your characters.
You really have. Why do you care about these relations? Why should I care about the character if I have no idea why they're fighting, what they're doing, what their motivations are for anything?
Mhm. And the actors know that. I think
They're
logically
fighting for it.
most of the writers do too. Whether or not they always.
I do think a lot of it's just the editing too, and how they get it out, what they want to get accomplished in it, with their audiences.
We can go on this
We
topic
can
for like a
start.
really long time. But you're not wrong.
FICoN Will makes Canon Will much more tolerable for me right now. I don't know anything what they're going to do about season 6 or how they're going to build him up, if they are going to build him up, what they're going to give him for anything. Is Samantha, I'm sure she survives, but
I don't know.
that'd be really bold. I would hope they would do that. Do
They
you think
killed
would do that?
Akio. I mean,
I know, but that would mean Will would have to always be there in his life. That'd be a lot of Will. It's a lot
but
of kid.
it wasn't a lot of baby Sarah before she was erased. I mean, she should have been there all the time. But he's 10.
I
He's
know,
got
but
school.
And he's going to be really super important to Oliver, too.
He's not going to be in the office.
Well, no.
He may or may not be in the lair.
It's going to change all this stuff, though.
Kids always
Obviously.
do.
I know they do,
But-
but that's the whole point. That's what I'm saying.
And that's my concern. Is it could be done incredibly well. I hope it's done incredibly well. I'm not holding my breath. Because kids are hard, and I have rarely seen shows do it well,
Yeah.
especially later on.
It's just a
incorporated.
hard thing to incorporate, especially in an action show like this one.
There is absolutely no way I can read this next 2-part ask because it's entirely theory. That's piecing together a lot of things.
It's impressive. It's really impressive.
And I'm not even going to tell you if you're right or not, but your research skills are really on point.
It's impressive.
No, if you come at me with a theory and you've got evidence, like, from various different social media platforms, I'm suitably impressed.
Impressive. It's impressive.
Um,
It's really impressive. It's like little tidbits from so many different places.
these asks are predominantly, they have to do with who Jules' husband is. And you did a very good job, Disney Freak Love. What to say to that?
It's impressive.
Okay, so an ask for us to each describe each other's writing styles in 3 words.
Oh. Am I going first?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 3 words. Oh, this is hard. Do you have 3 words for me?
One.
You have 1 word?
I'm getting there.
I wish you would have told me this. I could have prepared. I'm not good at thinking on my feet.
Can we come back to it?
Weirdly enough, expressive is one of them. Yeah.
One mine was descriptive.
You have a really
That's
good
what
way of
mine.
expressing everything when you write. It's fantastic. I love it.
Gutsy.
For me?
Mhm.
Really?
You chop. Like, no one, I'm like, I wrote those words. They're my words. They're going nowhere.
They didn't work. They're leaving. I love editing.
It's fucking crazy.
It needs to be done.
I know.
I'm trying to think of the word.
I have to come up with one more.
I think I know it too. Emotional.
I like that.
It's very emotional. But it's
Okay.
like it's a broad emotional. Like you're really good at tapping into everything in that moment.
Okay.
I
I'm
love
gonna take
it.
that. I need another for you. Writing
Writing another
styles.
for you.
More writing styles for break.
You know what's weird though when we actually sit down and write together, it's just like its own thing.
Yeah. It takes on its own life.
It really does.
So let's say adaptable.
That's good. Yeah. 'Cause it is.
For both of
For
us.
both of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we adjust a lot of our styles. And that's part of working with somebody was asking about co-writing last time, and that is part of co-writing is learning to give part of your style, part of your flow, part of your plot, part of your
Well, it's also
pace.
always changing. Because
Yeah.
there's still stuff that we do now that we're constantly just going back and forth. Like stuff we did in early parts of FICoN, now we change. So, it's an evolution.
You can't, it's like any relationship. You can't
Yeah.
expect the other person to be who you want them to be all the
Exactly.
time. And
It
you,
won't work.
yeah.
Adaptable is a perfect word. Yeah.
And their other half is, what is your favorite non-FICoN fic, whichever is non-fiction fic, that each other has written, and have fun at the con. We are having fun with the con.
Your Firefly.
Yeah.
No. Actions speak louder than words. That was my first thing that I read from you. And I remember there was one scene that blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, it's so exciting when he had a precedence glass and like she pushed her hand between his. Or
Yeah, that's the one that
remember
left the
going-
flaily Kermit gif
Yeah.
on.
That was
with
so
you,
exciting.
I'm gonna say either. I really like Four Walls, but I also really liked Soulshine.
That was such an accidental fic.
I know. Well, it kind
I
of
know.
felt like that sort of fic that had so much possibility to it that you
It
didn't.
really does.
I mean, it's smutty. But
Yeah.
it's also.
But it has so much. It could go so many different ways.
Yeah, and it was super tropey, but it's tropes done well, and that's hard
That's awesome.
to find. I love tropes,
I love
obviously.
fics that take you into a totally different verse where stuff doesn't seem. I mean, the science in that is just. There's no science. Nothing makes sense in that fic. That's just ridiculous. But I hope it makes sense when I write it.
It sounded good.
Okay, good. That's all I need. I tried doing some research and I was like, no, this is too complicated.
And then I got a response who claimed that they were the one who sent in the request for canon divergent Emilium kissing. And they made a Tumblr account just to reply, which is amazing. And asking for either shortly after the brunch encounter or after the flash fic with the flower pot stuffed toy. I can probably make the first one work. Or the second one. The first one would wind up smuttier. Just a first kiss.
That's the one I picked. I like that one. Yeah.
I do at some point want to do like a 5+1 of 5 ways Will and Amelia could have gotten, or five times they could have gotten together, and one time they
That would be fun.
did. I started playing with that idea a little while ago, but I didn't get very far. I started writing the first time they met, but with him seeing her first instead of Maggie. I wasn't in the right headspace, and I was like, what words did I use the first time? Zinging. There's zinging.
True love first sight.
Also, thank you for saying everything that was lovely in this ask. And yes, I know there's no rush on FICoN. That's a necessity. And thank you for recognizing that. And I'm glad that your workplace spiraling out of control is more controlled now. We have one more ask, which is good because our time is long. If it's not too late, I have a question that I would love having answered in video form. Was Beth's personality and relationship something you planned from the beginning? No, it was not. Because at first she felt like a plot device. She was. But now she's a fully fleshed character in my head that I want to know more about, which is excellent because that's really how 90% of my original characters come about. Can you tease any extra details about her love life? I'm a total romantic like her, so I'm super curious. Does she have kids? Do they see Will as an uncle or a grandfather? Beth is a total romantic, and she has a bit of a crush that goes nowhere on Connor Diggle. He's a bit older, and he's like,
What?
no, this is too close to family for my liking. The Diggles and the Queens and the almost Queens, and no, thank you. He's sweet about it though. It's gonna be poor little heartbroken Beth there, but Will is probably going to kill Connor anyhow. But Santosh, her eventual husband, is this absolutely adorable, sweet boy, band geek, like making hard eyes at her from across the room in math class all the time, and she misses it for a long while. He's just got a he's a nice kid, and Will doesn't know what to do with that. He's not really okay with his baby sister dating. She's like 16, 17 here.
It's a reality 16. He never wants to face.
He doesn't like it.
He's really close to her.
And he does sort of see her almost like a kid.
He really does, because he was there.
He helped raise her very much.
He did.
I keep playing with my hair because I'm looking at it, so I can't not
looking at it.
I don't know. So I love their relationship because it's so hopeful and naive. Once they do get together, I think it's incredibly sweet. In an almost Disney cheesy kind of way, which is why I won't focus on it that much because it's so fluffy. But there's some interesting stuff with her trying to find a place in his family. Different culture, different background. But Beth is someone who grew up without a mom and a pretty limited. Her family is her dad and Will, and then the Queens, who aren't really family, but sort of treat her like that anyhow.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, but she always knows that they're not, and they don't have any obligations to her, and that makes it different. Can she call up Jules for advice? Yes. Did Felicity babysit her a ton? Absolutely. But it is never the same as if they're actual family. So to see Santosh, who she totally falls in love with, and him having this family, which is a very different culture than hers. His parents are from India. And learning what it's like to be not just part of a family, but part of his family. I think there's some interesting things that can happen there. And I'm always a fan of, if you've got people from different cultures in a serious relationship, part of the thing you love about that person is their culture. And you're not trying to get them to reflect yours. You have to interact in a way that allows both of them to build in your household.
Yeah.
So that's an element in there too. Does she have kids? I think they most certainly have kids at some point. I don't know how many, and I don't know when, but or if it'll be covered. Yes.
Yes. It'll come up. One day, Janice will randomly
It's
wake
like
up and
20
she'll have their
years from now.
entire family tree
Be like they
completely
have 4
planned out.
children,
And
there are
she'll
3 boys and a girl, and their names are, yeah. And this one
This
really
is what they do.
likes
And
computers.
oops, accidentally. There's some love interest for them about 15 years down the road.
Stop. Everyone's
stop, we have a
related by
problem.
then. What am I going to do? It doesn't work. I guess Connor could marry somebody, and anyhow, well, that just gets awkward. But yeah, she grew up without a mom, and that definitely impacted the absence of family. Not exactly in the same way as Penny, but I think in both of their cases it drove both of them to want kids. Penny wants a boatload of kids.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Beth wants quite as many. But she also gets married younger, so we'll see how that works out. Not a whole lot younger.
Not a whole lot younger, no.
Penny's young.
She's really young.
I keep forgetting she's like
I know, she's
6
young.
years younger than Nate.
That's not terribly
And
young.
he's the baby.
She's really young, though. I keep saying that.
So she'll be like 20, they'll be like 26 and 32, or 25 and 31 when they get married. That's still pretty young.
That's really young.
Not as young as Beth, though. That's
she
younger.
does want a lot of kids. Penny.
Penny.
Beth.
I don't know. She
I don't
wants
see her
some.
wanting like the huge whole big family. There's different circumstances there behind them.
Yes.
So I think Penny would definitely want more than kids. Especially
why they wind up
one
with 5.
Nate. Yes. They do a good job following up on that dream of hers. Can
And
Nate.
Nate and Joy. There's a lot about that Nate and Joyce. And then
The method is wonderful.
2 of their kids they have a set of twins, Nate and Penny, so it's 4 pregnancies. Anyhow, do Beth's kids see Will as an uncle or a grandfather? Kind of in between, which is a weird spot to be. But it's the same way that that Beth sort of treats Will as both her brother and her dad. He sort of, to some capacity, fills both roles.
It depends on the situation. It depends on what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more of an organic, in the moment thing when you see what's going on.
Well, and let me check something, because David is older than Oliver by like 5 years. So he's probably in his mid-70s, I'm guessing, by the time Penny, I keep going back to Penny, I'm thinking about Penny. He's probably in his mid-70s by the time Beth has kids, and that's not unusual, but I think Will's around, I don't know when he's gonna die, but I feel like Will's probably around more for more of the childhood, you know what I'm saying?
I think he is. Oh, yeah.
He's certainly more interactive and more active. I mean, and really, Will's boys aren't that much older than Beth's kids.
No, they're not. They're going to be pretty close.
They would be really close, I think.
Which is fantastic and perfect.
They're, in a lot of ways, that portion of the family tree defies categorization. Excuse me. They're important to each other and their family, and the exact word for it doesn't really exist. But that's okay, because they know what they mean. I need to go cough like a million times, and then I have to drive Bree somewhere.
Yeah, we have to go.
So we're hanging up now. Hanging up? We're stopping?
We're stopping?
I don't know what we're doing.
Hitting pause until next time?
I don't know when next time is.
We'll figure out next time. There's going to be a next time.
Okay.
It'll happen. I don't know when, how, or where.
Or probably Ohio.
That'll happen. Maybe we can do more road trips.
You could
I
come
could do like a
rent
whole,
a room
like,
from
whole
me.
big
I'm
thing.
just saying.
I know, but that has to wait like a year. I know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right. Thank you for watching. It's so wonderful that you guys actually watch these videos. We love it.
We do love it. We don't
do.
really understand it,
I know,
but we
'cause
love
we
it.
just babble most. I babble.
But
No, you do
we're
babble.
fun when we babble.
Yeah, that's true.
We're more fun when we drunk babble, but I have to drive, so there can't be any more beer.
No. It's really good beer. Next
It's
time.
really good beer.
We have a ton of beer left.
I'm
Every
not
little
saying
drink
I'm
is really
sorry.
good. I know you're not. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.